Orange County, Orange County, Orange County. Are we loving? I'm loving. I'm loving because it is not too serious. You know, the stuff that's happening, I'm like, oh, this is silly. It's just good. It's good entertainment for my eyeballs. You know, I'm not too married to either side. So it's actually fun because sometimes what happens when I have guests on, and that's actually why I do the top of the episode where I go through the cast to hear how they feel about them. I do that because you don't know until you start recording with someone all of their takes on a housewife. And sometimes it can get really awkward for me because their take is just totally opposite of mine. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to have to tell you, like, don't agree. But I've noticed with Orange County, I can kind of go any way on any of the little mini feuds happening. Like I don't need Tamra to be wrong or right or Shannon to be wrong or right because I'm just enjoying the show and the journey getting there. It's not that serious. And I refuse to let it get that serious because then we're Jersey all over again, Summer House all over again. So I really am loving this season. Today I have Steven, Faces by Bravo. If you don't already follow him on Instagram and you know me, I'd be shocked, but he's like the original Bravo account. He is a meme queen. But anyway, he is here and he was a lot of fun. If you're watching on YouTube, please don't forget to like this video. It helps out, they tell me. Also, make sure you're subscribed and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. And if you are listening, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe, rate and review. 5-star, please. 5 stars only. That's going to be the name of my new podcast. 5 stars only. Okay, that's it, guys. Enjoy Steven. Here at She Speaks Bravo, we believe that Bravo TV is a great form of self-care and therapy. I mean, look at me. I've been using it for over a decade, and I'm a complete mess.
What is this, honey?
I love that.
I'm Emily. Every week, I recap the latest episodes of your favorite Bravo shows, from Housewives to Vanderpump Rules.
We need to get more cosmopolitan. Hot-teeny!
So if you're not already subscribed, get subscribed and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode.
All of that.
You sound fantastic.
Okay.
You
Cool.
sound like a pro.
I've never done it before.
This is my first time.
It's my first time. I'm so nervous.
Oh my God. Guys. I told you I'm going to finally get more guests on the show, and I delivered, okay? And this time I have one of the OG meme queens of the Bravo community. You may know him as Faces by Bravo, but honestly, at this point, you have to know him as Steven, right?
Hello.
Hi. So can I pick your brain just a little bit about like boring content creatory stuff?
Pick away.
Okay.
Okay. I'm ready.
I'm sure you've told this story 100,000 times, but how did you get started and figure out that Bravo and talking about Bravo could actually be like a thing?
So first of all, I'm a full-time nurse. That's my career. And I needed a hobby, and bottomless brunch was not sustainable. So, but one thing me and my friends always did when I lived in DC was we talked housewives ad nauseum, like constantly. And it's like one of those things where it is culty in a way where like once you start talking about it, then you get sucked in and you keep going and going. And like the people around you that don't watch it, they were like, they would like have to walk away because they're just like they're in their zone. They're not going to get out of it for another hour at least.
It's so true.
So I just like did it did it for fun and like didn't really no expectations. I was in when I had Facebook. I think I had Facebook still at the time, and I was in like all of the like Bravo Facebook groups and stuff.
Oh, okay.
So like the Whispering Aileen's and like all of those back in the day.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I am unaware of these things with these like huge
Oh.
Facebook. I know.
This is yeah. So like back in the day, the OG, I think, Facebook group, don't kill me if I'm wrong, but I think it was called The Dome. And
Ooh,
that was
that's intense.
where that was like the OG one. And then there was the Bitch Sesh Facebook group. That's how I got my way in, was that. And it's just people, Bravo holics, everyone commentating on things and whatnot. And then also, I think it was affiliated with the Bitch Sesh podcast. And
Okay.
then an offshoot was like Whispering Aileen's, which is from there I started my page, and it just was growing, and it was taking off. And like, Bravo reached out at one point, they did like a little profile on me for their social and asked me to co-host the Daily Dish, their podcast, and the rest was history.
Dreams do come true.
It's all happening.
It's
I wish I
all
had it
happening.
there.
It's all happening. Well, you are like a meme assassin, honestly. Like,
Well,
how
thank
do you
you.
start with, like, how do you come up with a meme? Because you will just do it all day long.
Well, it's funny you say that, because actually during the social highlight thing with Bravo, one of the things they had me do was they gave me 30 seconds and like a stack of like images, and I had to make memes as fast as I could.
Oh my God.
It's really, if it's like from new content, like what I'm currently watching, when I'm watching the episodes, I'll think, like, if I hear something funny or catchy or something that could be turned into something, I'll make note of that, and then I'll get the clip. Usually I don't have anything pre-planned out though. Like, as far as like using old stuff, I'll like look at like GIFs or or if I'm watching old episodes and stuff and I hear something, maybe it'll come to me, but it's usually
It's just a natural
off the
talent.
fly. All natural.
All natural, honey.
And Bador would approve.
You would approve, totally. Organic material. I love
9
it.
lemons in a bowl, all the deal.
That, I think it really is true that you have to like think in memes. That's why it's, to me, such an art form of comedy,
Yes.
because it's a very unique thing to be able to do.
Yeah, and for me personally, like, if I have to do it like off the cuff, because
Wow.
if I try to like think too much, then I think too much into it. So it has to be like, I have to have like inspiration just randomly from it. Because
this is like some real creative shit, you guys.
Thank you. And then I love recreating housewife scenes with my wigs.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite. Your Kathy was my favorite. I loved your Kathy one. The best one I think you did was the one with the dental.
I love that one.
That one was my favorite. You had the mannerisms perfectly. And then it really, what it helps you do is it helps you see just how ludicrous and ridiculous the things they say are.
That was her first confessional. Like, that's our introduction as Kathy as an official cast member, is her thinking Garcelle was Kyle. And then when they go to confessional later, her very first confessional was her talking about dental work, I think. So that is pretty incredible. It's so ludicrous.
Oh, it was so good.
Yes.
Okay, well, let's get into, thank you for indulging me on that. Let us get into, as I do with all my guests, I'm going to go through the cast and I'll say a name and you'll let me know like your thoughts and feels on them.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, Tamra.
Thrilled. She should never have been gone. Like I said, as soon as it was announced she was leaving, I was like, this is the worst mistake. People are going to be angry once they see, like, the fans that called for it are going to be angry once they see her impact. However, I guess actually at the same time, I do feel like she needed a season off.
Agreed.
So
it was like a struggle we all had to go through.
We had to go through. Exactly. That's actually a brilliant way to put it. Because I don't think we would appreciate Tamra now as we do now without a break.
Exactly.
She's one of those people. There's 4 housewives that I say, like, I don't care if they have a storyline whatsoever. I just want them to be a full-time housewife. And she's always been one of them. Like, she was kind of like running out of storylines. So she was getting in that trouble area where you're meddling too much and stirring stuff up, but if you have nothing really going on, then people just get irritated with you, and you're more like the narrator and like
yep
producing,
and that pisses people off.
It does. And so I think even though I don't need her to have a storyline, her taking a break and all of that gives her a fresh perspective, and obviously now being sort of like a Bravo viewer herself for having her
that's
podcast.
a very interesting perspective she has now.
I literally was like thinking there's no way Bravo will bring her back with
Me
that.
too. That's what I thought, for sure.
Because it's too like you're too close to the
It's like the one big fourth wall, because it's like you're on a show and then you're also doing what we do, the content creators and the audience does, which is like commenting on another show. So I thought the same thing. I thought they're going to make her cancel the podcast.
Yeah, exactly. I thought, but I would have if that would have been the case, if I were her, I would have stuck with the podcast and not the show, because that podcast has longevity now at this point.
It does. The downloads that they have, the ads they get. No, you're 100% right about that. Yeah. And it's easier. It's much easier
totally.
to do her podcast than like be on the show.
Exactly.
Okay, let's go to the next one.
I'm ready.
Shannon.
Oh, Shannon. She's such a heartbreak to me, because I consider season 9 of OC the best season of OC. And Shannon was great until she wasn't.
Yep. Yes, totally.
Yes. She was so raw, and like those early seasons, she put it all out there for all of us to see. She was just such a phenomenal housewife. And I hate to see where she is now, because I think she's way too produced. She says things off camera. I know this for a fact, where she'll be like, I'm going to say this now, but if you say this on camera, I'm going to deny it. Like one of those types of things. And I just think she's her storyline's gotten a little stale for me.
I can see that.
But so far, I'm glad she's still here as of right now.
Yes.
I go through phase, it ebbs and flows for me. Yeah.
I'm right there with you. When Shannon first joined, I was like, I get it. Like they're getting their money's worth with her. She is
like a show refresh.
It was. And so I appreciated that aspect. But then when she started going through the divorce with David, I'm like, it's really hard to like her, guys. It's really getting hard to like her. She's real difficult. And I didn't think I'd ever like Shannon again, because, let's face it, there was like 3 full seasons of Shannon being like an emotional vampire. And then last season happened. And I was like, wait, am I on Shannon's side in a couple of these things? I was like really surprised by that. And I gave up on the season halfway through. I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, I really just cannot handle it. But what's only been 2 episodes or 3 episodes. 3. But I'm like, am I liking Shannon?
I'm sold. I'm sold on this season. We're 3 episodes in.
It feels familiar but new.
I can't believe you just said this, because I'm not kidding you. I texted Emily Simpson. I said, it feels fresh but familiar.
Oh.
Like, that's exactly what I said. It feels fresh but familiar.
How could you do this to me? Question mark.
Are you done cycling through endless amounts of trending skincare products that all claim to smooth wrinkles or firm skin and give you a youthful glow, but they don't really deliver results at the end of that bottle? Well, support for today's episode comes from OneSkin, founded by a team of 4 female PhD-level longevity scientists, with over 15 years of experience studying the biology of aging. After testing thousands of peptides, they discovered OS1. The OS1 peptide is scientifically proven to target aged, also called senescent cells, the main source of skin aging, and actually reduces the biological age of the skin by several years. You heard me. Their flagship product, OS1 Face, is clinically validated to improve firmness, fine lines, and overall tone and appearance. Unlike most skincare products on the market, OneSkin works deeper than the surface level and is designed to promote healthier skin from the inside out. When you have healthier skin, you have better looking skin. Is your current skin regimen clinically proven to reverse the molecular age of your skin? If not, give OneSkin a try and see the difference. For a limited time, our listeners get 15% off OneSkin with our code SheSpeaks at oneskin.co. I have completely swapped out my eye cream for this stuff. I was I won't say the brand, but I was dedicated to them for many years. I started using OneSkin on just one eye to see if I could tell the difference, and I did. So, OneSkin for life. So, how does it work? They are targeting the main source of skin aging, which is the buildup of old cells, also called senescent cells. This impairs the collagen production and leads to wrinkles and loss of firmness. The scientists spent 5 years and tested almost 1,000 peptides before they landed on OS1, which is their proprietary peptide clinically proven to decrease the levels of aged cells and reduce the age of the skin by several years at the molecular level. OneSkin is for everyone that wants to prevent or reverse the signs of aging with a groundbreaking approach. OneSkin addresses skin health at the molecular level, targeting the root causes of aging so skin behaves, feels, and appears younger. It's time for you to experience a new skin health routine at a discounted rate today. Get 15% off with code SheSpeaks at oneskin.co. That's 15% off oneskin.co with code SheSpeaks. We only have one body, one skin, and only you can choose to make it better. Age healthy with OneSkin.
I love that.
It's just the right amount of OG or like a veteran energy.
Yes.
And then I love the new girl, and Taylor needs to be bumped up. I need her to be full-time.
You know she wanted to be. You know she's like, how the hell did I not get that damn orange?
I mean, I was actually laughing a little bit at, like, as the season was filming, like how much that content she was putting out, like with like teases and stuff that weren't even really teases. She was putting it out there that she was gonna get an orange, I feel like.
Oh yeah.
And I figured she wouldn't this year, like, since this is the first time that they're crossing so heavily.
Yeah.
But she deserves one to me, I think, she so far. And I think I've always felt like Taylor and Brandy Glanville were more OC than they were Beverly Hills, you know? Is that like a thinly veiled shit? A bit of shade? I don't know.
I just said, I can't remember who I was, might have been maybe Kendrick. I can't remember who I was talking to, but I said on an episode of this, Taylor is the type of person that would go to Orange County from LA.
Yes, exactly.
And I know that's like LA specific shade, but like anyone who knows what we're talking about knows what we're saying.
The girls who know.
Yes, they get what we mean. Like she belonged more. Beverly Hills was eating her alive. She couldn't quite keep up, but she was definitely hot enough and rich enough for Orange County. It made sense. It made total sense.
And Brandy Glanville would make total sense too, right?
You know, I didn't even think of that until you said it, but yeah.
And Heather Dubrow, I mean, I don't want her to come to Beverly Hills by any means, but back in the day, I was like, Heather Dubrow feels more Beverly Hills, you know?
And I think that's sort of why Heather thrived so much maybe on Orange County, because she was the most Beverly Hills of Orange County. But if you were to put her in there with like Kyle and Erica and Lisa Rinna, it would have been
She'll
like,
get eaten up.
You're actually kind of the lowest, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, seriously. It would be very interesting to see her in that setting, because she just, to me, I feel like she would get swallowed up.
Totally.
And Beverly Hills is not even that type of franchise to swallow people up like that, I guess.
Yeah.
But I just don't think she would really have the presence that she has on Orange County.
Yeah, I think it would intimidate her a lot, and it would. So that's why she was perfect for Orange County, because
Mhm.
like she was down in Orange County reluctantly, and
Right.
like reminding Terry like, I did this for you. It worked because it was like, oh, she had to make the dreaded move out of LA down to Orange County.
Down to Orange County to raise our family, but I guess now's the time for Heather
Now's the
Penn.
time. Now is the
She's ready to
time.
make a presence in
Yeah,
LA.
I know when they said that, we're trying to make a presence in LA. It's like, what does that even
Well, I
mean?
also laugh too because so my boyfriend doesn't like he used to watch Housewives, but I've ruined like anything Bravo for him essentially. It's like just too much for him now. But I was watching the episode and he just was like passing through and he heard her say that and he goes, "Wait, you have like a career or something?" Like I'm like, "Oh, okay, Shane." Throw a little bit of
Because it's
shade.
just a weird thing to say. Like, all right, got it. It's well, let's go to Heather then. What are your thoughts on Heather?
I I've always said Heather. I feel like there's people out there that think Heather is necessary for Orange County, and I don't think she's necessary for Orange County. I think she's added value.
Yes.
Um, like she's a value add, but I don't think she's the show by any means. And I think last season they tried to really focus too much around her, and it did not work how they thought it probably would.
Mhm.
Um, I wish she would have come back with with sort of like not so much the fancy pants and just show us the real Heather Dubrow. Because from what I gather, like off camera, she's, curses like sailor, is really cool, down to earth in a lot of ways.
I have not heard
Um,
that, really.
yeah. Well, like to an extent, not like, yeah, she's still fancy pants, but
Yeah.
like she's more laid back on certain things. I would have loved, now that her kids are older, to see like sort of like an evolution of Heather Dubrow. Cause I
Uh-huh.
think if she would have shown like a more like a evolved, different personality a little bit, I think it would have been interesting.
Mhm.
Because I feel like she puts on a show for us now. She's really working the cameras
Absolutely.
versus being Heather.
That was I even noticed that the season before she left and came back. So like
Yeah,
what was that, season 10? No, 11. Season
she
11.
left
Kelly
after 11.
Dodd's. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Even that season I could tell she was getting very produced. Her confessionals were like so rehearsed, so
Mm-hmm.
polished, and I'm like, I bet you she said, "Let's do a take 2 on that and do
Yeah.
that one more time." So I could see what you mean, and I know I've preached this 100 times, but you never rely on one housewife to carry a franchise, and they didn't figure out casting last season. They didn't sit with all of the cast like on a table with their headshots and go, this doesn't work, because they just were like, Heather will be it. We just need
Mm-hmm.
Heather. And Heather only works when there's a Vicky or a Tamra there to make fun of her for being so
She's
uptight.
not, oddly not main character energy.
And she totally thinks she
I think
is.
she is. Yeah, it's very bizarre. I've never actually voiced it that way before, but like now thinking about that, like she really thinks she's the main deal,
Mm-hmm.
but she is literally, I think, the epitome of that, where I think she thinks so highly of it,
Uh-huh.
but she's not, and so self unaware that she's not.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So that little level of cringe is kind of nice
Yes.
because you love to see a little cringe.
Absolutely. A little delusion is wonderful
Yes.
in a housewife. It's fantastic. Let's go
Alexis
to
Bellino did it best.
No, she did. No, she did. How about
Oh,
Gina?
Gina, she looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
We're 5 years in now, I guess. Wow. Did
Yeah.
not expect 5 seasons in.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
It's interesting because like she doesn't bother me. I think a lot of people have strong opinions on her. I enjoy her as long as she's not taking up a spot for someone like
Mm-hmm.
new and exciting. I'm fine with her being there. Like she doesn't
Okay.
bother me.
What about Emily?
Love Emily.
Love.
Love Shane and Emily. And Emily, I think I was thinking about this the other day whenever I was watching this episode. I sort of feel like every franchise needs a non-practicing attorney, aka her, Meredith, Jackie. Like their commentary is different in a way that I love it. And I love Emily's like confessionals. They're
she's
so
been
good.
cracking me up. The
Last
confessional
season
she
too.
did. So like I said, I dropped out halfway through, but I will
Mm-hmm.
say I was also shocked when I was watching last season that I was like, oh, okay, I like Emily now. She's
Emily
funny.
found her stride
Yes.
after. I don't know if it was like coming into it knowing like maybe. Well, no, it was just like I feel like she's more comfortable now in her role, and she
Agreed.
understands the game. And I honestly think people that don't think Emily deserves to be there are wrong. They're entitled to the wrong opinion. Just because I would agree in the past. I don't think there were moments that like I was like, yeah, I don't understand the Emily being here at this point. But now that she's found her stride,
Yes.
I feel like she could last
Agreed.
for a while.
She seems natural. She
Yeah.
seems like she's having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Even when there's drama, she seems like she's able to like know, okay, this will pass. Let's just get through it, as opposed to having like huge reactions and like ruining a whole event.
Right. And I was gonna say too, I think initially a lot of us were really turned off by her and Shane's like dynamic in the beginning.
Yep.
And now like I think it's like we're seeing it better. It's like I don't know, like it's landing versus him coming off like an asshole. Like he came off as an asshole in the first season, but in reality he's hilarious. It's just their banter and stuff. So now it's like I think it's landing better.
You're right. It's landing better. We're more accepting of it. I feel like if you stay around long enough, we eventually have to accept it.
Yes.
And there we are.
Yeah, exactly. And I think she's so beautiful. That's another thing.
She's so beautiful. So
yeah.
Her hair, oh my God.
The hair.
It's like a horse's mane. It's so
beautiful.
thick and amazing. Yeah, no, and she slays outfits and makeup and looks fabulous. So
I'm very curious where the inspo of the tagline came from. I like love it, but in a sense, but I'm also like, where like
is it going to make sense? Like, is it when we see it in the show where we be like, oh, that's why?
Like I would have understood maybe a sandwich because of last season with the sandwich, but
the taco is out of left field.
Yeah, like I just was like earlier today, like rewatching or like re-listening. I wasn't watching, but like episode 2, and I think she said there was a point where they talked about needing a burrito or something. So or a taco place.
I'm right there with you. I'm like, I just feel so out of nowhere, and hopefully at some point in this season we'll be like, oh, that's why she'd said that. But right now I'm like, it could have been anything. I get the sentiment she was going for. It's just a weird, it's an odd, out of place tagline. How do we feel about Jen? New Jen?
I love her. Yeah. I think she's fresh. She's exciting. She is beautiful. She's like I love looking at her. She's very interesting to me. I'm excited to see. I feel like she's someone though that could get swallowed up real quick.
Totally.
I mean, she held her ground, I guess, a little bit, like when on the second episode when like Shannon was like interrupting and stuff, like eventually she spoke her mind, which is good. But I feel like maybe like second season we'll see a more powerful Jen, or maybe something more will come out during the season. She oddly reminds me of a blend of like Dr. Jen and Bronwyn in a weird way.
Oh, I could see that.
I don't
totally
know why.
See that.
Yeah, right? Like
maybe because all the kids,
with the foster kids and all of that. And then like I don't know. There's something, just the two of, like a mix of the two of them for some reason.
Yeah, she's definitely, I like her better than Dr. Jen, and I don't really know exactly why. I just know that she makes more sense. She maybe feels more comfortable in her skin than Dr. Jen felt. Maybe that's all it is. But I can't put my finger on it, but I like this Jen and Ryan as opposed to last season's Jen and Ryan, which is so crazy funny.
That is wild that they have a Jen and Ryan after like replacing. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Dallas where they had a Carrie replacing a Carrie and then a Tiffany kind of replaced the Tiffany from season 1.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the episode. Let's chat this episode. So we start off with Heather and her family gather around for the private chef prepared dinner, which is I love actually because I don't love cooking. So if I could be like, "What are you making me?" and like I get it, but they were like, "Oh, that sounds delicious," and even Heather sounds surprised. Like it's such an unconventional, privileged house.
And
but
as if Heather didn't like orchestrate that menu from top to bottom.
Exactly. she's like, you forgot about the chives. Like she knew exactly what was supposed to be stated. But Heather's kids and her relationship with her kids is what makes me go like, I'm like, okay, Heather, you're cool. Because we've got our first transgender child on the show.
Yeah.
Ace, as we knew Ace as Coco, like the little I mean, literally a baby. And now nothing's being made a big deal out of it. It's just like, here's Ace.
I love the strong LGBT genes in the Dubrow family. Happy Pride to the Dubrows.
Yes.
Literally, Heather is being such a great supportive mom to a family of, I guess 3 out of the 4 are LGBT. Yeah. So, I mean, I just love her approach to open conversation and acceptance. And that's how it should be.
It's a beautiful representation that we are getting right in front of our eyes. So thank you, Heather. We will always respect you for that. Like a true ally, a true example of a parent just making no real big deal out of it. I love it. Okay, let's go with it. It's like, yeah,
exactly.
That's where we should be now.
That's how it should always be, for sure. And like for like a lot of the people watching this show is probably a lot of people that maybe don't have that have a lot of different views than I do, and seeing that hopefully can help open their minds a little bit to that.
I also love that Alexis Bellino's, was it daughter now or son?
Daughter now. She has a trans son.
I couldn't remember which one it was.
Yeah.
But I loved that because like she had never thought about it before, and suddenly she's presented with it, and she had to totally change her perspective.
From season 6 when Fernanda joined. Fernanda was supposed to be full-time, but she ended up being a friend, if y'all don't remember. But she was lesbian, was supposed to be like the first lesbian housewife. And when they were on, like they had like divided cast trips or something, and Gretchen, Alexis, Fernanda, Peggy Tanis were all in like Texas, and they were talking about like gay marriage and like how Alexis doesn't recognize, gay marriage as actual marriage, and like basically doesn't support the LGBT lifestyle. I hate saying that, but like that's how she put it.
That's how she
like,
put it. So vintage.
As if we chose it. Yeah, exactly. And to see the growth that she has had through experiencing it in her own family and realizing, I misjudged, I misspoke, and really being supportive of her son. I love it. And I want Alexis back so bad.
I thought I was surprised she's not, because she just, it's time. It's time. It's been like, when it's been long enough, it's time. That's where we're at with Alexis.
100%. So funny. Like I guess I think I watched Housewives through such a different lens back when she first was on. Yeah. And at the time I did not appreciate the Alexis of it all. Okay, and the rewatch, I can rewatch Alexis over and over and over again because she truly, Heather was right in the Diamonds and Rosé book. Like she needed to lean into that archetype. Because if she wanted to be taken so seriously, but if she just leaned into the archetype of her character on this show, I mean, it was just so brilliant. It was hysterical to watch.
Yeah. All right, this is where they say, now that you kids are leaving, we're going to make our presence known back in LA. And I really just would love, I want to watch it. What does that even entail?
She's going to take Kylie Jenner's billboard. Her presence will be there. Right on Santa Monica Boulevard.
Oh my God, you're right.
In
Oh my
La
God,
Cienega.
I would die if we actually got a full Heather Dubrow face.
The Dubrows are
billboard.
here.
They're here making our presence known.
Dead.
All right, so Jen stops by Cut to see, you know, the end of Cut. We're packing everything up. Tamra, though, does not remember much from the night before. And Jen lets her know, like, you done fucked up. You done, yeah, you're going to need to maybe
Fuck a duck.
apologize. Yeah, you told her to fuck a duck. She's like, why would I say that? We're like, we don't know.
Not sure. Did you feel a little bit like it was same energy as when Meredith Marks told Lisa Barlow that they might be getting divorced or they were separated, and Lisa starts like crying, like it's like so emotional over, like Meredith ends up comforting Lisa about this. It's almost like Jen and Tamra, like about the gym closing. It was like Tamra had to like comfort Jen more. Like she was like, all these memories, like
yeah. But for her, this is where she met her man.
Yeah.
But we find out that there was a time, somewhat recently it had to be, that Tamra and Jen didn't even talk. And this is juicy to me because this is how much of a producer Tamra can be, that she went, I want to bring my friend on that I definitely have a little beef with. And we may be able to resurrect some of that beef for filming. Like that is, she was thinking ahead.
You know what's interesting? One tip that a producer once said about like for some of these housewives, that it's actually better to not recommend your friends as much, because like one day you don't know that they could take your spot like right away, kind of deal. So it's kind of smart if Tamra did. I'm curious if she suggested to her or if she was just in the casting loop.
Yeah, right.
But if Tamra like actively pursued her and knowing that there is that chance of resurrecting that drama, that's amazing.
It's perfect. It's perfect because she takes the opportunity to drag her and like put it out there. Like Tamra, she's like, it got ugly. And I'm like, damn.
I feel like she probably felt so comfortable with it because she felt like, I didn't do anything wrong in this, so I know that I can like win this.
And it's only going to really shock Jen that she's doing it on camera. She's like, wait, are you really saying this? The cameras are rolling.
I'm your friend. What are you doing?
Yes, it's very much I'm your friend. It's always a bit of a shock. It's like when Sutton was dealing with Lisa Rinna at that dinner where Rinna's like, well, you better not have done that at my kid's event.
Yeah.
And Sutton's like, what is happening? You brought me on the show. It was like, it's giving that a bit, which, you know, hey.
You got to be prepared at any moment that your friend's going to turn on you when you get on these shows.
That is something that every newbie should know, because even if you think you're friends, just the cameras go up and shit changes.
Make sure you're on the same page, ladies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How could you do this to me? Question mark.
It is summertime, and you know what that means? That means we have to start shaving our legs. And the thing is, I always get really aggravated razor burns. So I used to dread shaving, but then Athena Club sponsored the pod and sent me one of their razors. And I think I was just using a not great razor before, because this one, I don't have any irritation after I use it. And it also has, because I had this in my old razor, it has the water activated serum, but the design of this razor is better. I got a much closer shave because I was always missing spots. And I was like, how? I feel like I'm so thorough. Much closer shave, hugs the curves better, and it has this water-activated serum, but it doesn't get goopy like my razor used to get. It wasn't hair stuck in it. It was just like goop. I don't know, which is probably why I didn't get such an even shave. Duh. And this water-activated serum has shea butter and hyaluronic acid, which is like the holy grail for skincare. And here's the best part. The razor kit is only $10 and comes with 2 blade heads, a magnetic hook for shower storage, and your choice of handle color. They come in the cutest colors. And the thing about that magnetic hook, you just put the razor on like that. It just stays there. It's super cool. It's not all bulky too and ugly in your shower. The other thing too about Athena Club, because this happened to me all the time, you never have to think about blade refills because you choose how often you want your replacement blades and they're shipped to you. And also, you can find them in Target stores nationwide. So it's easy to swing by one of the many, many Target stores whenever you need more blades. Athena Club also makes this amazing shave foam. Oh, it's luxurious. I think maybe that's also why I'm not getting the bad razor bumps, because it just leaves my skin really soft and hydrated. So there's got to be stuff in it that's doing things. So switch to the better razor and show your skin you care with Athena Club. Get started today by shopping in-store at Target stores nationwide. Just head to the shaving aisle, find the razor kit, cloud shave foam, wax strips, and razor refills. Guys, head out to Target and get the Athena Club razors.
I love that.
Gina and Travis are both going to be getting into real estate together. I know. But Gina, this is where Gina is, to me, she's going so out of her way to talk about Jen's affair and acting like it's really affecting her, that it's giving, I found my storyline. And I'm like, no, I'd rather watch something very different with you.
Yeah. For me, I mean, I can connect on the story of like, my parents got divorced. There was infidelity there. And me as a person, like, I would not be a cheater. Like I can't, that's something that because of my past, but it doesn't trigger me when like Jen's story doesn't trigger me like that. I mean,
yeah,
obviously we had very different experience. I mean, it was Gina's marriage versus it being like, my parents, but like, it feels like your anger is misplaced here. Yeah. It's weird.
It's a little odd that it's affecting her this much. And you could tell Travis is confused too. Like Travis is like, and then that affects you how?
Right. And it's like Emily says it best on the episode. Like there are so many ways you can get out of a bad relationship without cheating.
Yes.
But everyone's story is different and dynamics are different. So Jen really did clear it up with the ex-husband's like flashback,
that was
him saying
major. He did her
that was
big favor. He's like, I will do this on camera.
Right. I was impressed with that. And he said, I'm sorry I didn't love you the way that you needed to be loved. Like that's a hell of a line right there.
Isn't it?
But it was so natural.
That gives me chills again when you say it. Cause it's like, dude, this is the one that everyone's supposed to be all like, oh, poor husband, but he's over here willing to do this on camera.
She gives off the energy that like she wouldn't want to hurt anybody like that. That's or exactly. Like be, you know what I mean? I think her true colors shine through the TV. At least to me. Where like it wasn't this dirty like gross affair. It was just different, It was unfortunate that it happened, but it's they went through it and they are over the hill from that. So Gina needs to move on.
If the husband can move on, you can move on.
Seriously,
okay, girl.
Right.
Shannon and John go to a crystal shop, and as they pull up, he goes, oh, the curb is really high. You're going to have to crawl over through my side. Now, sir, why don't you let her get out like a lady and then you park the car?
Chivalry is dead. Officially.
Officially. Okay. I was like, and maybe because we're hypersensitive to the fact that John is going to be a jerk and we hate John. But I was like, red flag, just that alone.
John's a big walking red flag to me. Yeah.
And he was to me like from 2 seasons ago too. I was like, no.
Yeah.
No.
I don't get the vibe. The vibe ain't it.
The vibe ain't it. He was just not David. So we were like, yay for Shannon. But
right. Shannon and Vicky are so similar in the sense that they they lose themselves in men. Like
100%.
they will literally like devote and change and be whoever that man wants them to be. And I hate that for them because like, don't let a man change you. And that's one reason, Vicky, why I don't think you'll ever get full-time again, because you'll never be the Vicky that everyone fell in love with.
Everyone fell in love with. No, that the Brooks thing changed her forever. Forever.
1,000%. And even with Steve.
Oh,
even Steve.
And now she's even crazier. Now it's like she really cannot, like she's grasping for sanity. Barely.
And I honestly, like, real talk, I said this for a while that I would think it would be fascinating to do like study on people that have been on reality TV for such a long period of time and then get it taken away from them, because I can't imagine that transition, what that does to your psyche.
Good point.
Like,
good point.
I feel for her in a lot of ways, for sure. But at the same time, like, honestly, for being on so long, it probably fucks with your head. Like
100%. Especially because she was the first, like the OG of the OC. Like she was so proud of that and she loved it being her show. Like she loved it. And then it's gone. And her one and only like real flex in life is kind of gone.
Right. Yeah. And now like when Tamra got back and she got, was getting back on the show and she was, so distraught over it. Like, obviously still happy for Tamra, but like, she's like, where the hell's my letter?
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Awkward for both of them. Awkward. I totally forgot about Shannon having crystals put in the ground before they built her old house. Like, I forgot, like when she was walking in, she was asking the lady about the crystal stuff. And then she's like, oh yeah, I know, I have crystals in the ground. Like, oh, that's right. You buried crystals and then built your house.
I forgot about the crystals in her teeth.
In her teeth. That's right. In her teeth. How did she not know John's sign? I was shocked by that.
That's a very good point.
Doesn't that feel like something
she would know? Yeah. And for sure.
Yeah.
Because her and Vicky bonded on being Aries right away. Yeah.
So I thought that was odd because he says his birthday and then she goes, yeah, I think it was October. What's October? I'm like, what's October? How do you not know?
Is he a Scorpio or a Libra?
Maybe. I can't remember what they said at all. And I might be wrong about October too.
He's a Scorpio because they said water.
Oh.
So he's a Scorpio. Okay. Scorpio and Aries. I don't know what that
There's a lot more to it too. Like my dad studied astrology in like his hippie days, and like when he
with astrology.
Oh yeah, like I know. And so like when he would do like our charts, and then he would like match up other people's charts and stuff. I'm like, okay, so it's not just like one in one sign. There's a whole lot of stuff that goes into it.
It took moving to LA to realize astrology. Like I literally did not know one thing about astrology, and then you move to LA, and then your whole chart and everything.
It's so funny that's an LA thing. That's amazing.
It really is.
Oh, that's fun. Okay, Tamra FaceTimes. And I could tell that maybe Tamra really, a lot of this may be controversial, I don't know, but I don't think Tamra really did remember. I really think that she did kind of like black out a big chunk of it, because I've done that so many times, not bragging, but done that so many times where like
I'm bragging.
Where I drink and then I wake up and I'm like, I have a vague recollection of talking to this person. And then they're like, oh, you did. And then they tell me all this. So I do believe, because the way she apologizes to Shannon, it's very generalized and blanketed. Like, I just want to apologize and I just want this to be over. I'm like, oh, I don't think you remember what you said to Shannon, girl.
That hug was stiff as a board. Oh my God.
She's crying and Shannon is like, they're there. But I felt bad because here Shannon is getting this FaceTime and it's really lacking. But she's also like, oh, this is going to be like, I don't want to draw this out too long. It's bad for the show. Like I could tell she deserved more for sure from Tamra in that moment.
So I have like a different opinion. I feel like Shannon really did drop Tamra.
Okay.
And I think that Shannon is I feel like she's not taking ownership of her part at all.
I mean,
And
you're
like
right.
she really is just pretending like she was there. It's like kind of like when Lisa Barlow was saying like, I was there for you, Meredith, and Andy's keeps trying to tell her it did not land that way for Meredith. Like it's
Yes.
not landing. Like
Yes.
you may think in your head, Shannon, you may think in your head you were there for Tamra. Tamra's telling you you were not there for me. You didn't show up for me the way that I needed you to. Accept that, own it, and then we can move on.
I like that because Tamara's one of my problematic favorites, and like
Mhm.
I'll be very happy to take more of it. Tamara is actually the victim here. I'll take it.
Yes,
I'll take
I
that.
feel like Tamra's the victim here for sure.
Steven said it, guys. So Tamara's the
Mhm.
victim. It's all Shannon's fault. I'm much more comfortable in that place than I have been where I was like, I actually feel bad for Shannon. So you know what? For the sake of this episode, I can go back to just being an asshole about Tamara. How about that? Because I didn't know, and I'm sorry, listeners, I know I've said this a million times, but I didn't know Tamara was a problematic favorite until I started my account and I posted what I thought to be one of everybody's favorite scene. And it was a Tamara scene. And I got all these comments. And
Which
it's
one?
funny.
Which scene was it?
I can't remember. I'd have to go back like all the way through my
Oh,
content.
yeah.
I think it was from, it might have been the one with Alexis at Cut Fitness, which is very apropos to this episode, where she tells her to get out. And I had to go on Xanax. I had to go on Xanax, Lydia, like that whole thing.
Yes.
But the comments, I was shocked. I had no idea. But then to be fair, I'm like, all right, everything you're saying isn't incorrect. Like she has done a lot of really problematic things, but I'm like, I don't know why she just is such a top tier housewife to me.
I think what like I said earlier when we were talking about them, like her needing that break, I think it did get to a point where she became viewed as someone who's literally just playing the game of like,
Yep.
you know, making drama instead of having something going on.
Yeah.
And that stirred the fan base a lot in a negative way. But I feel like now the people that wanted her gone, a lot of them are glad she's back.
Yep.
And it took losing her really to notice.
And I'm also realizing that her role is to be a bit of an asshole and just keep it moving kind of a thing. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's sort of what, like, at least people are watching and actively like, because the feedback has been Tamara's horrible. And she's like, whatever, like they'll get over it. We're just going to keep this moving.
That is one thing.
She was a missing link.
She's truly herself. She does not like pander to people. She's going to be who she is, and if you don't like it, go fuck a duck, I guess, you know?
Go fuck a duck. Go fuck. Now, did you at all, because this was my read, I actually didn't like her on the boat. I liked her in the beginning, but the latter half, I'm like, girl, got way too drunk, and it felt a bit like she was nervous and maybe performing even a bit for herself.
It's funny you say that because I felt like a mixture of things. Okay. And at first, I think I felt like there was a little performing going on, except when you said like earlier, like, I think she truly was like really drunk.
Yeah.
If you watch it, you can, I feel like you can tell the Tamara face when she's like wasted.
Her face changes.
Yes. And I think, honestly, yeah, I'm sure there was a performance aspect of it, but I really think she was just really drunk when she did it.
Yes.
And it came off. It could come off more performance like. But again, I'm on her side on this argument where I lived for it. Like, eat Shannon up because Shannon was an asshole and she's not taking it. You're giving her miles and she won't even give you an inch. Like,
a lot of my listeners are probably laughing because I used to really detest Shannon. Like, I would be like, it's all Shannon's fault. So I started the season like that, where I was like, I am fully team Tamra. And then as more stuff came out, I'm like, Tamra, you're being a little much.
Yeah.
You're being a little much. But you know what? I like being in this place here with you because here Shannon's the bad
This is
guy.
a safe spot.
This is fun. This feels more familiar to me.
I just think about like those old seasons, like, and Tamara brought up like the phone calls, like
Yeah, and I've had a friend like that, so I really related, where people like have no boundaries and you're like, why should I have to set this boundary? Why are you calling me? But I also
And then-
understood Emily's point, which is unless you tell her, and I'm like, you had to tell Shannon not to call all hours of the night.
But she did tell her at one
Yeah.
earlier season, I think. It's just whenever I needed you, you didn't show up the way that I needed you. And that's another discussion. Did she tell her how she needed her to show up?
Exactly.
Maybe not.
And the thing too that Shannon always does when someone calls around on something is the way she has to act super confused. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know.
I didn't realize.
I had no idea. Exactly. Like that every single time. Even if it's something minor. Even if it's like something super small, like, oh, I wanted you to hand me that. She's like, well, I
just didn't.
I had no idea.
You should have said something.
Yes, it's like okay, just say, okay. Like she
She's
does
so
that all
frazzled.
the time. Yes, everything is like her eyes get all wide, and she's like, that's what made me really start disliking her was that shit. Because I'm like, just say you're sorry. It's really not that serious.
How could you do this to me? Question mark.
So I just moved, right? And I didn't want to figure out dinner. And so I have all the pastas and breads from Wild Grain from the box that they sent me. And I just ate the sourdough loaf, half of it. Not like that's any better, but I just ate the sourdough loaf with vegan butter for dinner. The bread is so good. I made the croissants, the free croissants that come in the box when you use my code. They were the best croissants I've ever had. And I even ate one of them cold because I just didn't have the patience to warm it up. And it was still good. Like the best croissant I've ever had. And I've been to Paris once. The thing about Wild Grain is if you're craving fresh, delicious, easy meals, go with Wild Grain. And get their bake from frozen sourdough breads, fresh pastas, and artisanal pastries delivered right to your door. The thing about Wild Grain is it's the first ever bake from frozen sourdough breads, pastas, artisanal pastries. And the reason why the bake from frozen thing is big, I don't think about thawing things out. When I want it, I want it. So I just pull it out of the freezer and I put it in the oven, and then I have an amazing loaf of bread. And if I had the energy and the pots available because I've just moved and those things are still en route, I would have also made the pasta to go with it and had maybe a more balanced meal. I still stand by bread and butter as dinner. Unlike your typical supermarket bread, and unlike your typical supermarket bread, Wild Grain uses a slow fermentation process that's way easier on your belly, lower in sugar, and rich in nutrients and antioxidants. So what I did last night was healthy, is what we're saying here. Every item bakes from frozen in 25 minutes or less. And you don't get bored with Wild Grain because they're constantly adding new seasonal and limited time special items to try. Plus, for every new member, this is great. Wild Grain donates 6 meals to the Greater Boston Food Bank, so you can eat good and do good all at the same time. All you have to do is sign up at wildgrain.com/shespeaks and choose which type of box you want to receive and how often. It's super easy to reschedule, to skip, or cancel. Plus, for a limited time, you can get $30 off your first box, plus free croissants. Those croissants I was talking about, you'll get those when you go to wildgrain.com/shespeaks to start your subscription. You heard me. Free croissants in every box. And $30 off your first box when you go to wildgrain.com/shespeaks. That's wildgrain.com/shespeaks, or you can use promo code SheSpeaks at checkout.
I love that.
All right, let's move it along. Let's go to Emily. She goes over to Shane's parents' house. I love her daughter. I love her crazy Annabelle, just wild child daughter who wants an agent. I'm like, get her one. She is a star. She would be great on any audition.
Hitting her brother with the ball in the head.
Yes.
Incredible TV. Glad to see Perry back on the show.
I love her.
Love Perry.
This where I really have mixed feelings about Emily's issue with her mom. And I'm glad that she seems to now be having this epiphany where her mom, the way she presented issues with her mom growing up was that her mom was really depressed and had a hard time like taking care of herself. So they had to take care of themselves as kids. But now I think even Emily's realizing that that was a bit harsh of a thing to maybe out. So her version now is that their mom worked a lot, so we had to take care of each other. And it turns out that her mom actually thinks she's toxic. And I have to say, like, I always felt a little bad for her mom because as someone who struggles with depression myself, I was like, well, let's not maybe blame her. But I think Emily hadn't had her, like, there's a point in life where we have an epiphany about our parents and we're like, wow, they were just people and they were doing their best. And I think that's how she has hit that point now with her mom, where she even says, maybe now I'm realizing she was just doing her best and it wasn't personal. It didn't mean she didn't love me. And I'm happy to see that explored with her more.
I feel like Emily too, again, she's an attorney, so she dissects. I feel like she has sort of a shell there, and everything's so methodical with her. And like, it maybe took, going through this to understand and have that epiphany.
Totally.
And yeah, no, I almost wonder, back when she first like discussed like the issues of her childhood, like, did her mom have an option of like saying no, or was she blindsided by the show kind of deal? I mean, I can't remember if, like, I know her mom came on the show at one point. I don't remember if that was her first season on.
I don't remember either.
But like, if she wasn't on the first season, like, I wonder if her mom like saw that like play out and had no clue. And that would be really tough. I mean, especially if it really, was like, was doing the best it could.
Yeah.
That would be tough.
Yeah. So I'm happy to see this journey from Emily.
Me too.
But okay, Heather goes to Taylor's. Now, I know people really are like mad at the way Heather handled it, but I thought it was such a great like housewife scene because you had like what kind of everything we like.
Like Malibu Country from the old days.
Yes.
Like, the drama of Alexis and Gretchen and Heather all maybe being cast for the same role. No, girls, I was offered no audition. Like, it's this low stakes drama.
Exactly. Like, that's why I'm like, it's funny that Taylor thought she could bond with Heather over having this movie thing, but Heather is like, no, you see,
sweetie.
Is it SAG? Is it non-union? What are the reshoot dates?
I just love or roles that are just offered. Like,
I love an offer. An offer's the best. And
offer's the best.
Taylor is just like, because, for them, they don't know her really as an actress. They know her as Heather, the person that does this show. So Taylor was just in over her head.
Like, everyone's in on the joke of like not knowing Heather as an actress except Heather.
Except Heather. She loves to give us her IMDb. Whenever she has a chance, she needs to remind us I was a series regular on this one. And her headshot is so 90s. I love it.
Well, I also was laughing a little bit, and I'm not knocking her career because she clearly had a career in acting.
And it's hard, and it is hard to book as an actor.
Absolutely. But I was wondering if there was some like thinly veiled shade with that, like when they put her like picture up and it said like pilot episode, or like she only got the pilot. She didn't get like a full role or something, I don't know if I'm reading into that too much, but to me, I thought that was a little bit of shade. Like,
they will find any chance, I'm sure, to shade her wherever they can, because it's too easy. Like, she sets herself up for it. It's too easy.
She really does.
Taylor I knew what Taylor was doing. She's like, even if you don't want the movie, please come with me to Oklahoma so that we can film more. Okay.
Yes.
please.
Taylor's brilliant. She's like, if I show up to film, that means that more likely I will be on camera.
Yeah, exactly. So she's like, you come to Oklahoma and bring this whole camera crew here, and we will make sure that we have a little scene or two. The coach arrives. Heather is asking this bitch for her resume too. She's like, what shows have you done? I'm like,
yes.
no, you didn't.
No, she's gonna eat you up with all of her experience.
And Heather was like, oh,
yeah, I know that show. Oh yeah, I've seen
yes,
that.
that's cute. That was adorable that you did that. But the breathing exercise,
Breathe from your hoo-ha or
your hoo-ha. This woman said that the way to open up your throat is to do blowjobs. But here's my favorite. Taylor writes that down. Taylor's
yes,
like, she
I
fully,
screen recorded.
Like she fully. Let me just get that.
I screen recorded that moment because I was laughing so hard at Taylor, like it's just
word for word.
Like, yes, you're like, you can see her writing every letter, like blow job. All right. Like
she's like,
so
she's like,
good.
one more time. Blowjob to do what? Open your throat. Okay. What's next?
Okay, got it.
Okay, we're moving
yeah.
on.
I loved it.
Such a student of the
yes.
craft.
Heather's like, yeah, I don't know about the blowjob thing, but
yeah,
you know.
Yeah, yes, totally.
She definitely knows what she's talking about otherwise.
Oh my God. Okay, the cut closing party. I was glad that when Shannon and John came in, that they commented on how confusing the sign was that they had in front. It was like, we cut it closed.
Oh, yes.
But
yes,
you're like,
yes.
wait, hold on. Is it that? So I appreciated that. Because when I saw the title of this episode, I was like, what a dumb way to put it. We cut it closed with the like ED and I'm like, oh my God, it's a play on it. They're completely just making fun of Tamra and her sign. Obsessed with it. With it.
You know, they gotta throw that shade somewhere.
They do. They gotta throw it wherever they can get it. Again, though, talk about shade. Taylor comes in and she has John, her man, and she goes, we've been married for 8 years. He's been my rock. Plus, he's pretty hot. And they purposely cut over to this super ugly shot of him.
Which is exactly what happened with Russell in season 1.
Yes.
She was like, yeah, he's like a rugged cowboy guy or something. And then LVP was like, who am I looking at right now? Where? I don't see a rugged cowboy.
Yes, her descriptions for the men that she's with are very off. Very, very off.
She's very generous with her descriptors.
Very generous. That's a perfect way to put it. Does Heather bring Tamra bread? She walks in and hands her a thing and she goes, oh my God, did you bring carbs? And I'm like, am I seeing this right? And she goes, rustic white. And I'm like, did that bitch really bring I
missed that part,
loaf? Okay, so everyone back, rewatch that part because I went back and rewound it. They don't do a close-up on it. They just show Tamra holding what looks like a bag of loaf of bread.
Was it like challah bread or something?
No, it was rustic white bread.
Why did she bring bread to the
She
party?
goes, you brought carbs? And she goes, yeah, you haven't been able to eat it for the last decade, so here's carbs. I swear, you guys, please, if I'm wrong, I apologize.
So weird.
But I rewound it because I was taking notes like, what? Tell me.
I now remember hearing that.
Mm-hmm.
I like don't remember because I like sometimes when I'm like watching, I'm listening versus.
Yeah, totally. Same.
I now remember hearing her say like, you haven't been able to have carbs for the last 10 years. Now, yes, I remember hearing that, but I need to go back and rewatch the whole
thing.
Yes.
It was baffling. But then they just moved right along. They didn't harp on it, keeping it moving. Thank you for my rustic white bread. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Gina gives a little shade to Ryan, which, you know what, fair, you're allowed, because she's like, all right, I'm meeting this Ryan guy that Jen's been talking about. I thought maybe he'd at least be a little taller. And then of course they go and they show he's basically the same height as Jen. I'm like, God, these editors, any chance they get.
What a great job, by the way.
I know. I agree. I
Also,
fully
like
agree.
being able to comb, I would love to comb through all the scraps on the editing room floor.
Don't even get me like Bravo would make a killing if they released uncut footage. Like, here you go, here's just the raw footage or whatever. I think I'd pay $1,000. I would go that high.
I will give whatever they want for
Yes.
all the raw footage of Mary Cosby.
Oh my God.
I need it.
Oh
I
my
crave
God.
it.
You do need it, actually.
I crave
need
it.
Yes, you
need
deserve it. We need to
Like,
find a way to get it to you. Okay, give it.
She is
to
literally
him.
like the one that like she can literally just be in front of a camera and it's just amazing. What comes out of her mouth? She like it's like she truly doesn't know she's on a TV show.
And then she gets very upset when she has to like adhere to the TV show thing.
Yeah.
She's like,
what do you mean I have to show up? What
oh my God, like
about?
when they did the inner tubing thing that Whitney put together.
Oh yeah.
Mary was so over. She's like, maybe bring your kids next time.
Yeah. Mary is so good. Oh God.
We get, unfortunately, a Ryan sighting in a cowboy hat, and and I just wish Tamra would have never ever allowed this. But I swear it's like I think she's doing him a favor. She thinks maybe he gets paid a little bit of money to do
I think he probably does.
Yeah, and so she's like, okay, I'll give it to you. I'm like, but the people say no. Yeah. No, thank you. I don't want to hear about his journey to working on a ranch because I'm like, or a militia for like MAGA. Like, I don't know. My head goes to dark places.
Literally.
You know? And why is Heather happy to see him? Heather should be like, I don't fucking talk to that asshole over there because he's transphobic.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. Like, yeah, that's so true. I thought it was very weird how Heather, was there someone else who was really like excited to see him? I was like, y'all like,
yeah, someone else was. You're right. Who was it?
I don't know.
You're right.
But either way, I was like, y'all aren't that excited. Like,
yeah, let's not lie.
Let's not lie like this.
Let's not
I guess
lie.
Maybe, you know, they're leaning in that he's still considered one of the children.
And unfortunately,
that's a discussion.
Yeah, right. That's
all in its own in the Bravo world. We could talk for hours on that.
Yeah. But we get my favorite where you get the producer set up and staged, like, here's what the cast trip's going to be, but let's bring it up in casual conversation. Like we just thought about it right now. Oh my
God, yes.
It was like something about Tamra wanted to go to a dude ranch. We should all go do that. And then here's some weird tie-in that makes it all make sense. Tamra's like, because we're thinking about buying property outside of California. So let's go to a dude ranch. What?
And like, I feel like Heather ruined the delivery piece of this. She made it more fake. That's what I always look forward to, the introductions of the trips, because there's people that are good at it and making it natural, and then there's people that just butcher the fourth wall. And that was an example of butchered.
And I love especially when like they haven't been able to get a natural moment. Like on Salt Lake City, it kept happening because like the group wasn't really a group of friends. So suddenly there would be a scene where they're all actually talking and they're like, we're going to go wherever. I'm like, oh man. Yeah. Production was like, guys, please just all gather around. We just need one establishing scene that this is where you guys are going. We just need it for editing. Please.
Yes, it's funny you say that, because there's times where it's like the cast is so fractured and it's like, oh yeah, let's go on a cast trip together, like, and trap ourselves together. That's gonna solve it.
That doesn't make. And then they're like, yay! And you're like, oh
yay, let's do it.
This is not real, guys.
That's definitely what I do when I'm fighting with my friends. Is
let's go on a 5-day vacation.
Yes, absolutely.
In another country too. Let's go out of the country. Let's
put us all in the same
away.
House.
Yes, let's do
Trap us in there with cameras.
That is normal. That is how people who are fighting generally handle things.
I love it.
Love it too.
Perfect.
Love it too. Shannon arrives, and again, Tamra's just like, I'm sorry again. You didn't deserve that. And Shannon's confessional is she should be apologizing for the last 2 years.
That's where you lose me.
She lost me there. That's where she lost me. I will admit. I was like, well, hold on. Have you?
Right.
Wait, has Shannon apologized? Am I forgetting something?
I actually don't think I think she did like a baby one where it
baby
was like,
apology.
I'm sorry.
sorry
if
you
I
felt
made
that
you-"
way.
Yes, which is the word, like the housewives apology. It's like
sorry
the
you felt that
non-apology
way.
apology.
Yep.
If she did, like it was something like that. And
Yeah.
that's why I'm like, Tamra, eat her up all you have to, because she still has yet to acknowledge she did not show up for you as a friend. Just say, I'm sorry. Like,
Just say I'm sorry I'm sorry you felt that way, because
yeah,
that is not, you can't really
putting the
apologize
onus on
to
her.
me for, you can't
Yeah.
apologize to me for how I feel. Like, why are you saying
Right.
sorry for my feelings? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Gina does bring up Jen's post. So glad we're still open.
Love this low stake drama.
Yes.
It's like amazing.
Yes.
Like we're
it's
fighting
not
about
too
a
much.
post. Yes.
Yes. We're fighting about an Instagram post about her still being open. And it was like some TikTok template that they were doing.
Yeah.
But I liked it. I like this drama.
Think Jennifer had no clue what, like, I don't think she put two and two together.
Oh,
I don't think
really?
it was calculated.
Okay, that's good.
I feel like she's like a little head in the clouds a little bit, in a
Okay.
good way. And I would love for it to be a calculated thing, but I really don't think she had a calculated plan.
I can live in that. I felt like it was. Like, maybe this way
I
they
hope it
edited it,
was.
the way they edited it, I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, that was so intentional, Jen. How dare you? But
hope
they
it
did
was.
edit it like that again. And Gina came into that
Yeah.
to film, and she's like, guys, did you see her Instagram? That, that was shade about this.
She came in and hot and ready.
That up 100%. Eddie gives the sweetest speech about how it was so great at Cut because we made friends and family, and he just appreciates the love. Their intention. So this is what it was. They're intentionally cutting over to Jen's face as Eddie delivers this, and so it gives you the tone that even they're saying she was like being shady about it. That's
right.
You know what I mean? So that editing works, y'all. Editing is effective.
Oh, 1,000%. It could, if you just splice it and put something one way, it changes
the right music.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like that's the one thing that I think someone brought up. Imagine listening or watching these shows without the music in the background or things like that. Like,
yeah,
the music and all of that stuff makes things so much more intense than they really are.
Yes.
And I it's something you don't think about, I guess.
Yes. A producer that worked on Southern Charm said something one time about how, like, it's nothing like it is on camera, because when you have no music and no like editing going back and forth, and it's just the raw experience, it's more intense. And I thought that actually makes a lot of sense.
Because it's just people yelling at each other and
exactly. And there's no
to
music to dictate what we're supposed to feel. It's just
exactly.
Like, you just feel however you feel. They do that a lot with, like, I just recently recapped the Ireland trip. And, the whole thing with Heather and Shannon trying to get Kelly drunk. Yes. And they put this like sinister score to make it seem like everything they did was, and so I'm like, I don't know if this was planned or not, but they want us to feel that way, because this
100%.
I'm in it. It was like the Pink Panther music that they used. Where I'm like, oh, they're up to no good. This is totally plotted. But if they removed that, I would not probably feel that way. It would just be like, this is just them. Hey, do you want a drink? And I'm like,
yes.
Look at the way they edit this.
Really made me like appreciate like the sound and just the videography of Housewives. Now we're getting so nerdy right now, but is Miami. Just the way 100%. They rebooted it made me pay attention to those things that I never paid attention to before. I listen to those things now, like the details of that, or look at the details.
Miami is also like gorgeous. Like, I don't know what lens, what film they're filming on, what lenses they use, but it's like, or whatever they're doing in post, but it's like such a treat for my eyes.
Beautiful, like just stunning, and just the way they do it. Like, I'll never get out of my head the first season of the reboot when Alexia's car gets up into the garage and it like gets pulled in, just like watching how it all worked. It was sexy.
It's
It was
cinema.
rich porn. Yes, it was cinema.
It's cinema, exactly. We talk about cinema.
We're fully in the cinematic experience.
Yes. In our cinematic era.
Yes.
Cinematic era. But Gina is good and messy. You know, she's definitely, in my opinion, a bit of a producer puppet. We saw it last season where they'll be like, you should go bring that up now. And she's like, okay. And so they were like, you should bring up the post. She's like, I was already planning on it. Like,
yeah, don't worry. I got this in my bag now.
even though Heather said not to bring it up, I was like,
literally,
I'm not listening to whatever you said. And she does it shady. She goes, I thought like you weren't coming maybe because like of what you posted. Like I thought maybe you two were in a fight. Which puts Jen in such a weird spot. She's like, wait, I have multiple follow-up questions. Like, what do you mean? Why would we be
in a fight?
Because we had it. And Tamra,
I was like, she was so caught off guard.
She was. And like, okay. My favorite, though, is Heather going, watch out, girl, because Tamra can explode. Sure enough, Tamra's face changes. Like, she's like, well, was it because of that?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. It's like,
yep,
I'm coming for you, bitch.
She's like, oh, I can see what Gina's saying. She's like, are you like, and then Jen, that's when they realize like, oh my God, is the person that brought me on the show capable of backstabbing or front stabbing or whatever? Yes.
Absolutely.
They are. They absolutely are. But the ladies, okay, done with that. They gather in a group and Emily asks Tamra, this was so messy. Emily asks Tamra, how was it for you when you found out about Jen's affair with Ryan? Oh my God.
Like the vibe of that gives me flashbacks to like, let's talk about your arrest.
It was like, yeah. She's right there, guys. Like Jen isn't even in the other part of she's right next to you. And Tamra is like, okay, I'm on. I said I would totally do this. I brought her on the show. I said, yeah, if it comes up, I'll say it. And she goes, it got complicated and messy because we were also friends with her husband. And then Emily asks, what made her, Jen, what made you be done with your marriage? And Jen's like, well, you know, we would go out. We would never go out. They never did anything. And Tamra goes, she was in a bad marriage. And then Jen's like, well, it wasn't a bad marriage. And then Gina has to walk away because she just can't even be associated with that kind of talk.
I'm like,
what?
Honey, this is not your battle. Like
just listen.
I don't get it. It's not your experience, so you don't have to worry about it. How about that?
Yeah. It had such a weird tone to it. And the guys were like, what?
I actually loved seeing, I mean, obviously they're still friends, but like, it was interesting to see Emily speak up about Gina in confessional. Like, Gina, like, the timing was wrong, or I don't know why she's taking this on so personally in a way, or she's overreacting. And I do love seeing those moments when people seen as duos do finally critique their friends.
And like hold that person, it makes me respect them more.
Yes. That's what I don't get about like the people that don't, I think there's two definitions of loyalty in the housewives world. There's like Teresa's version of it where like, you literally are so loyal that you kiss my asshole and like you worship the ground I'm on. I do nothing wrong. And then there's loyal to me, which I identify with as like, I would want my friends to call me out on my bullshit because that makes me better. And that's you being loyal to me because you're saying you're being an asshole.
Totally.
Or you're wrong here. So that's where I feel like, that's why I respect people like Emily calling that out, you know?
Yeah.
She's, you know, owning that her friend is being an asshole right now or being irrational.
It means that you're able to see things clearly and objectively as opposed to being just blindly loyal despite what's actually happening. Emily, though, she goes into the most amazing line of questioning. Like, this bitch is a good lawyer because if you're on a witness stand, you are confessing to the things. She's like, was he working for your family's business in Oklahoma when the affair started? No. Okay. Did you want him to go to Oklahoma because you had your thing going on here? No. That doesn't make sense to me. You had to subconsciously think, I need to get rid of my husband. Okay, she's like, fine, maybe not
Yes.
get rid of him, but it would be more convenient for you. I could not believe she said that shit to her face.
That's where, now that I'm like reflecting on that, that's where I'm like, I wonder if I'm getting lost in the Jen is so innocent and and maybe there's something more underneath that I'm not grabbing just yet.
Exactly.
And so
because Tamra's like, yeah, no, they were because Emily goes, were you having sex? And Jen says no. And Tamra's like, oh my God, just be honest. I'm like, oh, okay, see, told
you're
you,
gonna
Jen.
call that out?
Told you, Jen. And in the confessional, she says that they were caught in the car together.
Not a car handy.
But Jen goes, no, it was nothing sexual. We were just like talking. And I'm like,
well, you could talk like out of the car.
Yeah, you could talk out of the car. Like, I don't know. I don't know because Tamra does like to be a little messy. So
I could very well not be true.
She could be like, well, that's what I heard. And be like, well, that's not fair. So I want to believe Jen because she's seemingly been super open about how she was not right. She should have gotten out of that marriage. She handled it wrong. I want to believe that she's not lying about this part and that Tamra's just being a little messy asshole.
And I would love her for it.
Yeah. That's her job.
Like, I hope that's the case too.
Because Tamra this was such a good confessional soundbite. She tells a different story to different people, but I went through it all with her. I'm like,
oh, that is such a good soundbite. Yes.
Okay,
the drama.
Girl. Yes. She tells a different story to everyone. That's the part where you're like, oh, does she now? Like it just, you stirred it up.
So you tailor it to, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Tailor. No, but like tailoring it to situations now, then that's going to get dicey. Like,
yep.
You don't go on Housewives if that's what you do, baby, because you're going to get called the fuck out.
You're in so much trouble. You're already in so much trouble. I love the end where they cut the cake and it turns into a cake fight. And Emily's like, stop wasting it. And she like runs over and then she just ends up in the middle of it. But at the end, this bitch is fully eating the piece of cake and then hands it over to Tamra's mom. Like, you want a bite?
Speaking of Tamra's mom, her calling her mom out for getting laid with a much younger man. And we forgot about that.
He's like, hi.
And he's like right there.
He's like, that's me. We're on camera.
Yeah, great.
Tamra's mom is great. I love Tamra's mom. I love that relationship that they have. Like, it's cute to see that there's like, just, she got it from her mama.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, I love them together. They're so good.
Well, I catch you a little longer than I meant to. I'm sorry, but thank you.
It's probably me. I can talk all day. So
you are the best time. Well, I'm gonna have you back. Okay, good. Because I was
gonna say, anytime you want, I'm always free to talk Housewives.
I love it. You are the best. Well, as if people don't already know where to follow you, find you, can you let the peeps know?
Yes, at Faces by Bravo on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. And if you want to listen to 2 seasons of But Now We Said It, my podcast with the dip, wherever you find your podcasts, I guess.
Love it. Wherever you find your podcast, guys. Well, I hope you all enjoyed this as much as I did. Love you, mean it, and we'll see you next time. Bye. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you did, would you mind leaving me a 5-star rating and review on whatever platform you are listening? If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget there's the super thanks option down at the bottom, the little button with the $ and the heart. And also I'm on buymeacoffee.com/SheSpeaksBravo if you want to buy me a little coffee or 2 or 5. And my Patreon, that is where I'm covering all of the classic Bravo jams. If you want to follow me over there and subscribe, link is in the description. And follow me on Instagram and TikTok at She Speaks Bravo. And whoever the guest was for today, all their information is always in the episode description. So if you want to follow them and check them out, check there for the info. And any of the sponsor codes that I mentioned in this episode will also be in the description. I love you guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And I'll see you next time. Bye.